process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh, in the back end! Oh no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable!
League of Europe, grow or fade.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Division 2 side for the League of Europe. We are here for round 2 of the Bahrain Grand Prix. My name is Jaco. I don't usually do the comms for Division 2. The one that is alongside me tonight, for some reason just having a few PS issues, so nothing much more he could do, but I'm filling in for Verstappen tonight. As I said, the one alongside me is the one that usually does the main comms for it. It is Dakar.
Hello everyone, yep indeed, so we did have some technical issues in the lead up to this, so yeah, it wasn't quite optimal, but now we can kind of kick things off, of course, and get into the swing of things. So of course, kick off with our standard 18-minute short qualifying session. So hello everyone, let's get into this then. Bahrain, second round of the season, let's see how they do.
Yeah, and of course, a few guys, as you can see, already set in their times. Packer just put in a bit of a margin for the rest of these guys at the moment. I mean, what happened out in Division 2 last time? I heard M Short was the one that took the win last time, if I'm not mistaken.
He did indeed, and was very, very impressive in general. It was pretty much the class of the field. NSXL, who's done a stunner of a banker lap at 24.9, was also very, very competitive, but got himself into a few incidents. And Iro Dillon actually took pole position for the race, so he's also potentially one to look out for. And there was also the likes of, you know, Wesker and that were up there towards the front of the field as well. So it's going to be a one to look out for, sure. Of course, we've got a very, very competitive grid, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they all stack up. But so far in this qualifying session, about nearly a quarter of a second clear. NSXL 24.9 this early in the session, and that's quite a marker for the rest of them to chase. Stunning lap early on for the Mercedes.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. And of course, the other Mercedes is just making his way around the final corner, the one that took the win last time out in Australia, and he's making his way up to the line. Is it any contention with his teammate? It's only P7 for now. I mean, from what I heard from last week as well, it didn't sound particularly good from what happened with Yelp, I must admit. But, I mean, hopefully he's looking to bounce back from a few of the issues that he had last week.
Indeed, and I tell you, I hope that he does, because he's such a quick, such a talented driver. It'd be a shame for him to fall by the wayside just because of some incidents early on. And of course, him showing this sort of pace early on in the session is encouraging, certainly, for a Mercedes driver who is actually on a flyer at this moment. We'll see. I'm just trying to look for drivers that are on laps and maybe near the end of them there. It's a bit quiet because, of course, a lot of the drivers have backed off of runs. I think the only driver actually on a flying lap might be, at least I'm not sure, is QVR Maledictus and the Ferrari as he rounds turn 4. I'll leave it to you to take us to the rest of it there. End of the first sector. Let's see how the Ferrari shapes up to the rest of the grids.
Certainly will. So through turn 6, now making his way up towards turn 7. Definitely easy to lock up, as you can see. Maledictus, the Portuguese man in the Ferrari, doing just that. Making his way up towards turn 9 and turn 10 now. Again, another one quite easy to lock up at. Again, does do it, but it looks like he got the car stopped very nicely coming out of there. Want to get as early as you possibly can on the power coming out of turn 10, straight open with the DRS. Now making his way through turn 11. Sometimes people like to mount that curve, sometimes it can be a bit quicker just to sort of just go around it rather than mounting it. Now up the turn 12 deathly curve, a lot of people do tend to have a bit of an issue with that, and he has unfortunately invalidated his lap. So it did look like it was going to be a bit of a decent lap. It could have put him around sort of where McCrew and Big Panther were, but unfortunately he has invalidated his lap.
Yes, indeed. And of course, the field's so tight you can't afford errors, but of course, they will have more chances to go in this qualifying session. So I think we're going to turn their eyes to another QVR driver. I'm not biased, QVR Nico in the Red Bull, who is now heading down the straight towards turn 11. You can see getting right onto the curb there to open up that corner. Fourth gear, short shift to fifth to fight traction and out, power out. Going around the turn 12, easy flat in qualifying trim and in the race, to be fair. He's apparently purple through that second sector. We'll see if it stacks up, because I know it tends to be a little bit glitchy. It's looking nice and clean though for the Spaniard. Of course, one of 4 drivers without times on the board. He'll be wanting to change that record there. Third gear around the final 2 corners. Open up the power on exit there. Up the gears, on the throttle, on the DRS, to the line, and it's P6 for QVR Nico. 25.3, not a bad lap at all, and very competitive. You can see the gap between second and 7th is only about a tenth of a second. There are the margins that we're dealing with in qualifying here at D2 there. It is so tight between absolutely everybody, and just the smallest mistakes are going to make the big differences. We'll see how they all stack up. It's going to be an exciting second half of this qualifying session. Who else on the lap? I believe XL Ryan is on one as well, so it's a bit quiet. We're still seeing cars out there, but of course these guys now are looking to push themselves to the next level and maybe challenge that mark from NSXL. We'll see how Ryan and the likes get on here.
Yeah, no, certainly will. And this is kind of a bit of reminiscent of what just happened in the D3 race as well. All of the guys from, well, I think it was like first up to, well, I think it was about 10th or 11th were all split within 4 tenths of each other, and that was at the end of qualifying. Wow. It was very close. So yeah, I mean, he's already pushed that boundary to 24, the only one that's pushed the boundary to 24. Well, I mean, we'll see if anybody else is able to do it. I think the pole on D3 was a 25.0, so, I mean, that's even that time there is just going to be very competitive in this. But, I mean, again, we'll see how everybody else does fare on in D2. Ryan just making his way around the turn 13 curve now, and coming up towards the final 2 turns. It looks as if it could be a little bit of a slower lap than what he had initially done, although I could be completely wrong and could just be looking at a different perspective. I think it's actually going to be quicker, as he's got DRS now open. It's 25.1, so I've definitely get my words there.
Yeah, but see, a good lap indeed from XL Ryan. That puts him onto the front row, but only provisionally, of course. I just want to talk about the track briefly, because it's actually it's very unique to a lot of other tracks. As Dylan, pole last time and hunting for pole here at 24.9, the second driver into the 24s, and emphatically so. Of course, it's a little bit further on in the session than when Yale sets time, and Skyzy as well improves. So he goes just a couple of hundredths of a second down, and McCrew improves as well, so all the times are now beginning to tot up and everyone pushing their lap times down. But Dylan, very impressive, nearly half a tenth clear, which is actually a relatively big margin in D2, but a very low 24.9, and that is going to be quite the mark to chase down. The Red Bull driver looking very strong in this session.
Yeah, I'll tell you what as well, Chill, I've just seen him, he's gone up into P10 as well, and yeah, Rick going straight up into P4 as well.
Yeah, good laps on them, but what I was going to say before everyone started going really quickly on their laps was that this is a track that's very unique to a lot of others, because it's one where you drive the car a lot through the pedals as opposed to the wheel, as M Short goes 8th there, maybe struggling a little bit more so far than last week, but you know, it's one where you really have to focus on your throttle and brake application, whereas at a track like Australia, a lot of it is down to how you use the steering wheel. So I do love the little contrast, and you might be seeing the drivers in this pecking order be a bit shuffled up at this track then, because it's very different driving styles that you need to apply between Australia and Bahrain. So it's a lot of adaptability these drivers are going to have to go through, and we're going to see which ones stack up and hit the marks, of course. But Dylan, the constant seems to be Iro Dylan. Very good form in qualifying there. Currently on provisional pole last time out in Australia, of course, and at the moment looking very imperious, but we've still got 6.5 minutes to go. We'll see how the rest of the drivers shape up.
Yeah, definitely still enough time left in the session for anybody else to just try and improve and take Dylan off it. I mean, he could take it 2 for 2. You never know. Maledictus, however, we're going to go on board with the Portuguese man. He had a bit of a rough start in this one, going invalidated, unfortunately, at the exit of the turn 13 curb, but now making his way through turn 7. Again, locks up there once again. I mean, like I said, it is a bit of a difficult one to lock up at, but is it going to be the same case here as well? It is. So, I mean, at the moment, it's looking like not a bad lap, but in all honesty, from my side, it looks like he may be around sort of where his QBR compadre of Nico is, around sort of P10, P11 time. But I'll let you crack on and take us through the rest of the lap down.
Turn 13 is next up for QVR Maledictus there, into really playing around with the gears there to try and maximise the rotation, but also maximise the traction and the drive. Off of the corner now into turn 14, the little kink at 15 there. Third gear, rotate that car very aggressively onto the curb on exit. There's a big exit for the Ferrari. So where does that put in there? Catapulting to the line. It's only 14, so a little bit lower than you predicted. It's not even a bad lap at 25.5, but it's so competitive out there. These guys are all going to have to be on their A games with the lap times being pushed further and further down as Packer is out the session, and I think he might have dropped it going through turn 7 if you look at the mini-map. Yeah. So I think he's maybe got on that curb, that very deadly curb, gone off and spun, and his quali session cut short. The American driver will start no higher than 7th. A bitter disappointment to him at the start of this Bahrain Grand Prix.
Certainly is, and I'm on board with the other QVR compadre. He's 4 tenths off on his time, and I say compadre because it is the Spaniard and Nico. He's making his way up to the line. This could be pole. Very close. Ooh. Very close. 1 and 2 for Red Bull so far. I mean, we've got to look to everybody else to improve, especially a Yell. He's actually invalidated his lap, so I was going to stick on board with him, but he unfortunately has invalidated. Slash is just making his way up to the line, and he did improve on his lap, but he must have invalidated. So he might be going again for... No, he's not going again for another lap, so I'm assuming he's going to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Is Yelp going to possibly try and go for another lap?
No, I don't think so. No.
So we're going to have a little bit of a lull period here at the moment, whilst we wait for everybody else to make their way out of the pits, or come back in and then make their way out of the pits. A few guys in the chat, of course, as I said, Menulek in the chat, Simon F1 saying go on McCrew. So got a McCrew supporter in here. But I mean, what do you reckon the outcome of this is going to be then, Dan? Do you reckon Dylan's going to possibly take his second pole, or do you reckon someone else could probably snag it away from him?
Well, I'm going to, again, I think that Yale has the best chance to take that if he puts the lap together, because we saw earlier on in the session, very early on, he set a time that's only about 800 shy of the top mark. So I think if he's able to pull it together right at the death, then I think that overall he probably has the most raw pace at this circuit. So I'm going to say that he is going to take it away from Dylan. I don't think Dylan's going to quite go 2 for 2. I hope to be proven wrong, because it's nice to see a driver that, you know, struggled for the vast majority of last season up at the top. We'll see what happens. 3 minutes to go, and it's Skyzy, who's one of the top names earlier on in the session. He has just started a lap, so we'll take a run through with the Frenchman in that Renault into turn 1, onto the brakes, first gear, rotate that car now, getting up through the gears to get the best traction you can off of turn 2 and 3. The DRS now open as he careers down towards turn 4, not using much of the curb on the left. You can choose to do so. Skyzy, 4th gear, grabs traction on the exit there, and it's a good first sector, but actually not quite improving. So he's going to have to try and find more time throughout that lap onto the brakes into turn 8, managing to grab second gear, and again short shifting on exit. This is a bit of a trend at this track if you want to maximise your traction now into the very tricky braking zone of turn 9 and 10. Does that very nicely in fact there. No lockups for the Renault, and then powering down this short straight, going down into turn 11 there, the corner that just keeps tightening and tightening and tightening. You're going to watch your exit there, be very careful picking up that throttle, but it's nice and easy for Skyzy. Is he improving in the middle sector? The answer is yes, and emphatically. He's over a 10th of a second up, so at the moment he could be heading for pole position. He just has to hold it together. Going around this last corner now, we'll see how this happens now. In the Renault, 3rd gear, clip the curb on the inside, run it towards the curb on the outside, then eventually touch it on the exit of turn 15. DRS active, and Skyzy on pole with a huge lap. A 24.7, that is sensational. Almost 2 tenths clear. Wow, beat that, he says to everyone else there. That is some marker.
That is, I've got no words for that. That is actually impressive. A 24.7 in Division 2. I'm pretty sure the pole in Division 1 was, what, was it a 24.3, 24.4, something like that from Alpha Trick? So the Frenchman of Skyzy, only 3 tenths off of Alpha Tricks, to my knowledge anyway. But I'm going to ride on board with the Dutchman of McCrew. in the Williams. He is making his way up towards turn 11 and turn 12. He's struggled a bit in this lap so far, just a few little lockups, but I mean, it doesn't look as if he is hindering his lap. He may or may not be up on his time, only just up on his time, but he's going to have a bit of traffic coming his way as well. They are all moving out the way for him. So let's see how the Dutchman makes his way up towards the final corner. Is he going to try and take the curb? He definitely does. Clips the inside curb, gets it down nicely, but a massive bit of oversteer. It might hinder his time. It does look as if it's an improvement though, only just, and he goes up into P6.
Yeah, just one position up for McCrew, but we're seeing the drivers now flooding into their laps. Their XL Ryan approaches the final corner, 7th. He's just had that time overhauled by McCrew. We'll see if he's able to get one back in that racing point there. DRS is now active. Where does he go? It's P6. Again, a game of leapfrog between him and McCrew. He gets 6th just behind Rick, who is approaching the line on their laps. I'm not entirely sure who's close to one. I think that, actually, who's? I think it's Ben. Coming up to the line indeed, so we'll see where he stacks up there, coming through, but it's not an improvement. He's half a tenth down, no higher than 16th for Ben JS then. And who else? I think Tiger is coming through. No time in the session. His time is good enough for 12th at this moment. A 25.3, not bad at all. And anyone else? Rick goes 2nd. That's a top lap from the fender. Impressive stuff from him there. Spag goes 7th. The time's all flooding in at the end there. Who's the next to come over the line?
It's going to be Mr. XL Ling, aka the Dutchman of Dan. He makes his way out to the line. DRS is now wide open. It's an improvement on his time. He goes up into P9, just up ahead of Packer. A few other guys are now making their way across the line. I believe M Short has just gone up into P3. We have got the Renault of Wesker making his way up towards the line as well. He's 2 tenths up on his time. This is going to put him into P7. So a decent lap from him, and this is where it's going to be interesting. Dylan up to the line. He's 10th down on his time through sector 2, and he doesn't look as if he's going to put it back on pole.
That's going to be disappointing for the Dutchman there. No improvement from him. Then up to the line though comes NSXL. I said he'd get pole, and he does! A 24.6. We still maybe have cars yet to come. I think it's Big Panther. No, he's invalid on his lap, and Ryan is backed off, I believe. So that is going to leave NSXL right at the death for pole position, a crucial one as well. Skyzy put in a great lap, but just a tenth shy. NSXL only a couple of tenths off the Division 1 pole time. Overall, 6 drivers getting into those 24s, but Yale and Skyzy, really the class of the field, they're well clear of the rest, and they're going to round up the front row, and they're going to be in a great position ahead of the race in just a few minutes' time.
Yeah, no, a very good time from Yao, a 124.6, and same as Skyzy as well, 24.7. I mean, 6 guys into the 24s. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come, that they're going to be the ones trying to maybe take the lead. Yao, like I said, he's looking to have a bit of a better race than what he had last week, and so far putting it on pole, I mean, it could be just that for him.
We'll see. Indeed, of course, he got 5th place overall after penalties were applied last time out, so he's not out of things, and this would do wonders for his championship hopes. Skyzy in the front row as well, being 12th in the standings, only getting 1 point from the last race. He as well has got a great opportunity to catapult himself up the way, but I'm going to leave you to take us through the results of the qualifying session.
Certainly will. So the Dutchman of Yao does put it on par with Mr. Skyzy, the Frenchman, in P2, Rick in 3rd with M Short in 4th, Dylan in 5th, Nico in 6th, the Austrian of Wesker in P7 with Ryan in 8th, Slash in 9th, Spag making his way into the top 10. McCrew gets his first free choice of tyres with Ling in 12th, Packer in 13th, Tiger in 14th, Chill in 15th with Big Panther in 16th, Maller in 17th, Ben JS in 18th, Car Mentalist in 19th, and Jarry, or JSD, the only one that tried to do a qualifying session on a set of mediums, rounds out that final grid position.
And he will have free choices tyres as well as 9 of the cars in front of him. Of course, we've got a full grid of 20 drivers, which is great to see here in Division 2. So, of course, these drivers selecting their strategies, their fuel loads, and their setups, finalising things ahead of what hopefully will be a great race. I think Bahrain is usually a great race in league racing, so I'm looking forward to this one. But I'm going to go to you, Jack, there. For this one, who's your money on?
I'm actually gonna think it's gonna be a 2-peat for M Short. I think he's gonna get a nice clean getaway, and I think he's gonna make his way. He's starting in 4th, so I think he may just sort of get a bit of an advantage off the line, and I think he's gonna take this one.
Okay, and I'm gonna go slightly differently. I'm gonna go for man on the front row, Skyzy. I'm not biased.
I better keep your bias there.
No, but he does have a lot of experience, of course, in league racing. I think that's going to show through. I think his consistency might shine through, and he might just be able to outdo Yale over the race distance. We've got to see, of course, league racing is very, very unpredictable. Anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does. We'll see how it all stacks up. And if you look at the tyres these guys are on, well, outside the top 10, looks like no one is opting for those soft tyres there. Very different strategy. We'll see how that all shapes up.
Certainly will, and we'll wait and see as well, because if a safety car does come out relatively early, those guys on the set of the softs could be absolutely blessed and can just chuck on a set of the hards and go straight to the end on at the race. But the guys that are on the mediums, I mean, depending on what lap the safety car comes out, it could be a blessing for them. It could also be a bit of a damper on their races as well. And same with Mala and JSD, both starting on a set of hards outside of the top 10 as well. If there's no safety car, they could definitely play a factor into it later on in the race. However, I mean, safety car usually does come out pretty much nearly every single race that is done on this game anyway. So I won't be surprised if we will see one.
Yeah, and we'll see, of course, if it's timed right. Now, what's going to be interesting, and I'm surprised actually that no one outside the top 10's gone for softs, because compared to most tracks on this game, the softs are actually quite good here to my knowledge. So that's going to make things very interesting, but of course, those top 10, they have to cooperate, which I doubt's going to happen, and then that could lead to them all converging on each other. And the medium runners, if they can keep it clean, they may be able to hang with them, and later on in the stint, they will be at an advantage, of course. They do not have quali on their tyres, of course. They've not had to run these tyres in qualifying. All of the guys inside the top 10 have, so that little grip advantage and tyre wear advantage could come into play. But NSX Yelt is guiding them now in that Mercedes towards the front of the grid. Of course, he had a chance of winning last time out in Australia and threw it away by coming together with his teammate. Now his teammate is in its rearview mirrors this time, as well as 19 feisty drivers who will be looking to try and take that race win away from the Mercedes. We'll see how they all stack up. Dutch driver in the Merc glides round to the front of the grid. Skyzy, who's sitting back a little bit, he's actually behind Rick with a pretty impressive qualifying in third, I must say. Skyzy joins Yale on the front row, and the rest of the grid will settle. I'll leave you to take it through the start then. Yale, Skyzy, front row. We'll see how they stack up. Who's going to be in the lead down into turn one?
We shall await and see as we're just waiting for these 5 red lights to pop up. As I said, Yale doing a very good job of putting himself on pole to start off with. But here we go. Here come the 5 red lights for the second round of Division 2. And it is lights out and away we go. And it looks like Yelt's got on a very good start in comparison to all the guys that are behind him. Rick, in fact, has also got on a very good start, coming up alongside the Frenchman of Mr. Skyzy Short. Maybe trying to opt out on a move on him as well. However, not able to get that done. Skyzy does keep P2 just for now. However, Rick down the inside in towards turn 2. No sort of move ever done as of yet. Skyzy maintaining that P2 position. And Dylan, actually, I've just realised, moving up ahead of the Brit of M Short into P4. M Short just dropping down one position as there's been a massive collision going down behind. Who is that? I think that was actually Big Panther dropping off quite a bit, whereas you've got Wesker and Slash as well very close together. I think Wesker just getting past the Alfa Romeo of Slash. Ryan and McCrew also having a bit of a battle just behind as well. McCrew starting down in P12 he started down in, it is now up into P10.
Yeah, he was briefly up to 9th, but of course got caught out by Ryan. Now runs into the back of the racing point slightly. I'm not sure if he sustained damage. Spag, who's had a terrible start, he got nudged wide by the racing point, by the Williams. Rejoins behind and will have to settle into 11th, but it's Yale who's made the dream start already, nearly a second clear of Skyzy up at the front of the race. So he's made the start he wanted. Can he hold on to it now is the big question on all of our lips. We'll see how the drivers settle into things there. I'm sure Spag is going to be eager to try and retake that 10th place away from LR McCrew. Big Panther has actually managed to claw his way onto the back of the field as well. It's been a relatively clean start, I must say, but the constant, Yell, brilliant, launch off the line, already well clear on this first lap there. The question is now, can Skyzy reckon the rest of the field stay with him?
Yeah, we'll wait and see. As I think it was just getting a bit of a glitch on the left-hand side. I was about to go and flip over to it, but then I've just seen that there was loads of people that decided they wanted to drop down. So Yeah, everyone already getting through nice and fair through turn, through the first lap. For some reason on my screen it says lap 3, and the fact that Wesker isn't opening his DRS. Still loving the fact that there's this bug in this game. But I mean, yeah, as I said, relatively clean start for everybody in the race so far. Yell done an impressive job of getting away so far, and I mean, he's already almost built up that second gap from the Frenchman of Skyzy.
Indeed he has then. We'll see if he can hold on to it then. The tail end of the field bunching up, going around the braking zone of turn 8. There was a little bit of battle down there for 14 between Tiger and Benji, as of course battles all the way down with the field still so close all the way through. But of course these guys just going to have to try and settle in. It's McCrew, sort of predictably, is struggling to stay with the soft runners ahead, and he is going to be threatened surely by Spaghetti Chips very shortly. Of course DRS will be active at the end of this lap, and we'll see if that is going to create overtaking opportunities. There another tight battle shortened of the delta seems a little bit off for me, but further down the field I think that is Tiger who's having a little go at Benji. Yes, that seems to be the closest battle on track. The Racing Point is in front of the Alpha Tower. Fastest lap from Yelp. He is establishing that lead up the front as Chill gets underneath Tiger. Now he's got a good drop off the back of Benji. Yes, pulls towards the inside. Down the main straight there, he's looking for a way through as well up the road there. You got Spag, he is down the inside of Ilar McCrew, gets that car stopped, and he is joined that soft train. What's happened behind?
So there's 3 wide. It was Ben JS, Chill and Tiger all in towards turn 1, and because of Tiger being on the one on the most on the inside, he's had to mount the curb, which has allowed Carmentalist to make his way through on Dane of Tiger, and now Chill very close to the back of Ben JS. I know you said up ahead, Spag and McCrew changing positions, didn't manage to catch that unfortunately, but you can see up ahead as well, XL versus QVR, Ryan closing up to the back of Nico.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pick any moves on the Spaniard. DRS is now activated for the first time. Well, I'll say for the second time in this race. Going down the back straight now, and Skyzy has managed to hang on to it just about on the back of Yale. And at the moment, all of the guys down to P9 are within a DRS strain, so we'll see if that remains intact all the way through. As we've got another overtake further down the field there, as Shell, Benji, it almost goes round, got pinched by the McLaren, and was eventually able to get through in the end, but a little bit of chaos down there in that fight. Not for any points at the moment, but it can all be so crucial with these guys on that medium strategy. They've got to be playing the long game, and they cannot afford to get damaged at this stage in the Grand Prix. They've all got to be watching each other's backs, as Skyzy is doing such an admirable job to stay in it, but he's used a lot more ERS compared to Yell. So if Yell's just able to keep a blistering pace up, he surely will be able to drop the Frenchman behind. So Skyzy's got a lot of big task in his hands if he wants to stay with him. With the amount of overtake that he has on his disposal, as Dallin closes down on Rackett, he's to the inside, going down in a turn 4 there. The Fed trying to hang it out round the outside. He get better traction if he holds it right, but he can't quite manage it. Dylan up into the podium places. Carmental, I think is that drama out of turn 3. What's happened there?
Oh, I'm actually not too sure what's to happen. Maledictus and Big Panther, I know, are both side by side now, going through turn 5 and turn 6. Big Panther trying to hold it around the inside. Very good battling between the pair of them. Maledictus does just hold it, but went very wide out of the exit of turn 6, and we're having a massive lock up in towards turn 7 and turn 8. So, I mean, Big Panther, Mallet being on the set of the hards, he wants to try and get past him ASAP, especially with him being on a harder compound. And Big Panther, DRS now wide open for him. I don't think Mallet has got any DRS, and oh, he does actually have DRS, but with being on the softer compound as I think it was quite an easy move for the game to get past him anyway.
The critical battle now. Dylan trying to get himself into that DRS of Skyzy. He's down on 20% ERS, but if he can hang on to it, he might just be able to latch onto these top 2 and now maybe be able to get the guys behind. Of course, this train is being pressed by the immense pace of NSX Yale, who was quite a few tenths of a second quicker than most of these guys in qualifying. So, of course, he is going to be stretching these guys, but Skyzy's doing a good enough job there. He's actually saved a bit more ERS now, and he's a little bit closer as well. So he's done a good old job back there. As further down the field, again, it's McCrew and Spag. McCrew coming back at the Ferrari. Now Spag just about holds on to it, coming off of turn 3. The overtake is on for McCrew, but I don't think he's going to be close enough for any sort of moves. He hangs back for the time being. XL Ling is tucked in up underneath the rear wing of the Williams as well. These two are having quite a good battle, but what it's doing is dropping them back. Spag has leaked nearly 3 seconds to the DRS train led by Yell, and it's going to be so difficult to get back into contention. So Spag, he's had some great battling, but so far in this race, he's been caught out by all that, and he's well off the pace of the other soft runners now.
Yeah, and as you say it, literally, I was just about to say that as well, with Spag being 2.5, well, nearly 3 seconds off of his other guys that are on the same compounder tyre, and he's literally battling the guys on a harder compounder tyre. You've got to think this is where maybe the softs are starting to go off a little bit, and along with that, Spag, I mean, he's... the guys on the set of the mediums, they're just going to just breeze past him eventually, and especially with McCrew now all over the back of him, and he just looks a lot more comfortable than what Spag is at the moment. I think Spag may even be in the pits either this lap or even the next lap.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to last too much longer out there then. He's got 3 drivers hounding his rear end and eager to get past. We'll see if McCrew has any success this time going down the front straight. Then I don't think Spag is going to be able to fight this one too hard there. To the inside goes the Dutchman and the Williams, and breezes past on the main straight. He is going to get through. There's a little bit of a gap behind Texel Ling, so he might not quite be able to get himself back into contention. We'll see if there's any swapping of positions, because Spag has got a pretty good run off of turn 2, but McCrew puts on the overtake, puts on the power, and Packer as well has got past Ling. I think Ling's made a mistake going out of turn 3, but yeah, it's McCrew in front of Spag, and being the leading medium runner, I'm having a car between himself and the rest. He can push on, and McCrew is looking very strong in this race. You have to say, if he can make that strategy work, he can pick up some really decent points here today in that Williams.
Yeah, you certainly could. In potential, could even be within that top 5 of those guys as well, but I'm going to shift my way back up to Dylan, who is very close to the back of Skyzy now. He's only 3 tenths behind, and before getting past Rick, he was, 1.2 seconds behind him? So Dylan has done a very good job of making his way back up to the back of the Renault of Mr. Skyzy, and I mean, we could see a very good opportunity, overtaking opportunity going down the main straight. Skyzy is only just hanging on to that DRS of Yell, literally by a thread. And I mean, the Frenchman, again, like I said, he's doing a good job of keeping up with him, especially considering Yell's pace at the moment. So, yeah, let's have a look. DRS wide open for the Dutchman of Dylan, but you can see he's 5 tenths behind him. I don't think there's anything he's going to be able to do. He's just going to have to remain behind the Frenchman for now. And Skyzy building that gap back between himself and Yell. Again, with the help of DRS, I don't think there's anything that Skyzy's going to be able to do just to, well, to be able to catch up to him, and I don't think there's anything Yell can do just to try and shake him off.
Indeed, I agree with you on that one then. And of course, they got to be trying tenacious and hanging on to that there, and it's Slash Nico. They're beginning to struggle. Nico actually had to defend Rexel Ryan, is putting the pressure on the QVR driver, and that is opening up a bit of a gap there. The top 7 may be able to break away now. But I think that Dylan is showing clearly at this point better race pace than Skyzy. Skyzy is really struggling. He's just about managing to hang on to that DRS, hanging by a thread, but I think it might actually be better. As Maledictus picks up a penalty, I actually think it might be better for his race if he gives up the possession to Dylan. Dylan will probably have an easier time of staying with Yell, and in that case the train can stay intact. But I'd say look out for Rick. Rick is keeping up with these guys, and he's by a significant margin got the most ERS to use out of all of them, so I wouldn't count out Rick as well in this race. He's showing good pace early on, and he's sticking with the front runners for the time being.
Yeah, he certainly is, and Dylan as well. I'm also looking at his ERS. He's still keeping at around sort of 40 to 50%. I mean, Skyzy, I'm pretty sure he's using up nearly all of his ERS just to try and keep up with Yell. And to be fair, he's a bit closer than what he is this time to Yell. And as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, the pit window is now open for this set of the hards, so I'm expecting a few guys that are on the set of the softs to be making their way into the pits this lap, as Spag has just been overtaken by Packer as well going in towards turn 1. It looks like it could have been just one of the easiest moves that you would have seen all night, as Tiger and Chill have also traded places.
Yes, indeed, and also Nico having to defend from Ryan yet again. Ryan looks towards the outside and a turn 4, but the Spaniard is late enough on the brakes and keeps that corner inside. Big slide off the corner, but he's just been able to gather it. But these guys battling so hard, they're losing contact with the train. Slash as well is struggling. As further down the field then, we've got Tiger and Chill, wheel to wheel going into turn 6 there, and it's Tiger who holds it round, up in a 14th place, and Chill looks back to the outside, and he's switched back in order for the McLaren. He's going round and spinning half spins off of turn 8. He's going to be able to gather that car back, but on the medium tyres, that's a huge blow to his hopes. He's behind the hard runners now, and that's better disappointment for the McLaren.
Yeah, not what Chill would have wanted. That Benjamin may have just given him a little bit of a love tap, and I think it was a bit too much. I think it was a bit too hard of a love tap. No homo between those two. But I don't think there was anything that Chill could have really done. He was battling with Tiger. Ben, I think, just got a little bit too optimistic and just hit the back of him. And unfortunate for Chill. It is what it is. I mean, I'm looking on board at the moment with this battle between Ryan and Nico. Nico has now lost 2 seconds to Slash, as there you go, a few guys now coming in the pits, and Ryan being one of them as well, along with Yolt, Skyzy and Dylan. So the top 3 made their way into the pits, which is now going to allow the fin of Rick to lead the race.
Indeed, it is then, as Packer's actually reeled in McCrew. McCrew's getting closer and closer to Nico as well, so the medium runners now beginning to come into play. As further back, there we go, side by side. Tiger on the inside of Ben. Ben holds it nicely. Right inside the D3 champion, trying to get in front, but Tiger's hanging on in there. And overtake deployed to stay alongside that racing point, but maybe futile. He has to yield eventually. Ben up into 9th, runs a little bit wide on those brakes, but just about able to hold in front into 9th possession. And they got Big Panther, the teammate of Tiger, sitting in behind, but we'll see how these guys fare up. They've all come in for the hard tires, so now they're going to push. We're going to see if that undercut is going to play to the advantage of those top 3, especially because we saw that Rick was in the DRS range of Skyzy Dylan. Dylan's actually jumped ahead of Skyzy, and Yale has broken 1 second. So that is very, very crucial. Yale 1.3 clear, and we're going to see if he's going to have a chance of making his way through, but one big obstacle, traffic. They're coming up behind Chill on those mediums as well. We're going to see if those drivers can stay in contact, but Dylan outside 1 second, Skyzy just hanging on in there to the back of Dylan. So now those top 3 are more spaced out, and we're going to see how that affects the dynamic of the race there, as the race leaders Rick, Short and Wesker all into the pits.
Along with Slash as well, and Nico just going into the pits. That's going to allow a Dutchman of McCrew to lead the race so far. And again, on the set of mediums, he did manage to get the DRS from his fellow, who was it just ahead of him? It was Nico, sorry. I was about to say his fellow Dutchman, but it wasn't him ahead of. For some reason, that just passed my mind. But yeah, McCrew doing a very good job up front, being a first medium runner so far as well. Chill, definitely going to be kicking himself as to what has happened, as Yota has managed to get back up ahead. Has managed to actually get ahead of Rick. Rick dropping down into what is probably a net P4 for now. Wesker, I've also realised, has managed to jump him short.
Indeed he has, and what these pit stops has done, it's really begun to space out. The undercuts worked well for Ryan. He's jumped ahead of MMA Slash, so that's worked decently well for the Racing Point. He's ahead of Nico as well, he was battling with. Spag is back with these guys actually, thanks to the pit stop, so that pit stop phase has actually helped out Spag get onto the back of this more spread out battle for the lead, as now dynamic intensifies because QVR Chill getting closed down by an SX Yelp, and he's actually allowing Dylan, who I think has incredible race pace he's showing, he's now freed up to have a run at Yelp. Yelp's got to try and navigate that McLaren in front as quickly as he physically can, otherwise he's going to be finding himself coming under pressure from behind. So Chill could play a key role in this lead fight. They can also allow the likes of Skyzy Rick back into this if he holds them up for enough time. Looks like most of the leaders are staying out. We'll see if there's any fighting going on between them. I think Ben is actually coming to the pits early, so the first of the medium runners to come in, as well as Tiger. So where those guys going to come out is now for the net race leader. He's going to get up onto the back of Chill. Chill's using that overtake, maybe in his defence, and he's actually going to move to the inside there, so he's not giving this one up easily there. He has every right to. So right outside, because NSXL gets that one stop. He's round. They're going to go wheel to wheel, going through turn 2. DRS ends with Chill though, so he's going to have that advantage. But the overtake comes in handy for Yell, and he pulls his nose ahead. Now down the inside yet again for Chill, and Jill trying to hold it around the outside of turn 4 there. He might just be able to get his nose in front. Now into turn 6, he's going to pinch him towards the inside, and Yell does well there. Round, gets past Jill, and now Dylan's got to try and navigate. The McLaren runs into the back of him though, and I don't know if he's managed to get away with that one, but Yell gets a car between himself and Dylan there after a heck of a fight, and Chill is not backing down at all to these net race leaders there. Great fighting out there, but these guys got to be careful navigating him, otherwise they can get themselves in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, Dylan did just get very lucky in not actually breaking any of his front wings, so Yeah, he's doing well, sitting in the net P2 right now, and he's unfortunately may potentially lose that 1 second gap to Yell. As you can see, it's sort of around that 1 second cusp between them. Just going to quickly go on board with Packer as he is going into the pit, so I'm not going to go on board with him. Instead, I'm going to go on board with Jarry and Maledictus. So Jarry and Mala, they both started on the set of the hards. Jarry now with the DRS on the QVR man, the Portuguese of Maledictus, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get any sort of move done going in towards turn 1. They are sitting in 4th and 3rd at the moment, but I mean they're going to go on a softer set of tyres compared to what everybody else is going to be at the end of the race, so they could be in for a decent result come the end of it. As I said, as long as no safety car comes out, or a safety car comes out around sort of lap 16, lap 17, they are definitely in for a good shout.
Indeed they will. Skyzy, a late launch on Chill down the inside. And a turn 4 there. Chill, I don't think saw that one coming. And Skyzy's through. That's very important if he wants to stay in any sort of contention with these top 2, who, I dare I say it, have looked a little bit quicker so far in this race compared to the Frenchman. Now Rick is the next car to challenge QBR. Chill looks for traction off turn 8 there. It doesn't quite come through, and he has to be clinical here if he wants to try and make his way through, but almost into the back of it, but he's just about able to avoid. Chill gets a pretty good exit off of 10 though, and that might just about be enough to keep that Williams at bay for the time being, but Rick's got to try and get through. Skyzy has got to try and get back for those front 2. Dylan has got to hang on to Yell, and Yell has got to try and gap these guys. But also, look at those 2 hard starters. They are all catching them, and they're going to stay here for a little while longer, I suspect. So Maledictus and Jarry are going to play a key role in this race now, as McCrew and Carmentos the top 2 end. So now the race begins to hot up there. Almost all the cars have made pit stops. Jarry is going to easily pass Maledictus down the main straight, glides past the Ferrari. The pit window is open for these guys, but I still think they're going to become a bit of an obstacle to the charging Yell, and how much of an effect is this going to have on the standings in the race?
Yeah, it certainly will. It could be very, like I said, they are definitely going to play a key role into it. Just a little bit of a note as well. Chill, the only medium runner that is now still out, well, on the set of the mediums, as him and Rick are now both side by side going in towards turn 4. Rick down the inside of the McLaren, getting that move done. I think that was quite an easy move for the Finn to just get past him, and Chill just has to concede that place as Nico and Spag are both now trying to go side by side. Spag around the outside of Nico in towards turn 4, but no sort of move done for him. Nico just maintaining that position from the Ferrari man. As you said, yeah, he's now already within DRS of those 2 hard runners that started on him.
Indeed, but of course Maledictus having the DRS off of Jarry is going to present an obstacle, and it could allow those leaders to bunch up again. Skyzy is like just under 2 seconds. He's not quite got the raw pace, but this could be a real help to him there. If Jarry, if Maledictus don't just jump out the way, we'll see if they make pit stops, but if they want to make those mediums last, you'd suspect they're going to stay out a couple more laps at least to give themselves as good a chance as possible of being able to stay in contention and make that charge work at the back end of the Grand Prix. So how does Yelp fare here? Maledictus is just hanging on to DRS here, but he's actually going to go in very early. So that's a real bonus to Yelp, because he gets DRS to pull himself along and doesn't get held up much by the Ferrari. So Maledictus chilling as well, but Maledictus has really done Yelp a favour there, because now the Dutchman, the net race leader, has a real run at Jarry now for the lead on track.
Yeah, he certainly does. And another battle I'm just going to quickly go on board with is Rick all over the back of Skyzy. Skyzy has lost that amount of time to Dylan, as in fact Dylan, look how close he is to the back of Yelt as well, as Spag and Nico have just traded positions.
Yeah, Spag getting through on the Red Bull driver, and Packer sitting in behind these guys on fresher tyres. He's going to be eager to try and put them to good use and try and dispatch the Red Bull in front, who's not had the best of races so far, but he has been in the wars, there's no doubt about that. Carmentos picks up a penalty, and I think amongst the front runners the penalties are very clean, but we're still not even halfway through this race, so it can all change in the blink of an eye in pretty much a split second. And with it being so close, especially between these top 2, Gil and Dylan are going to have to watch out, not only for each other on track, but also in terms of the penalties, because just picking up one could throw away the race. These guys are going to have to be on their absolute A game, and they cannot afford mistakes here.
And it looks as if they are doing just that. They are looking like they're on their A game, especially Dylan. He was about 2 seconds behind Yao even after the pit stop, so now he's only 6, maybe even 5 tenths just behind his Dutch compadre. As I'm actually going to go on board with Dylan as Yell. In fact, I'm going to go on board with the Merc Man because he is, I think, about getting easy overtake done on Jarry in for the actual first place. In fact, Jarry trying to hold it around the outside in towards turn 1. Jarry just does give up that position. And now we've got the 3 Dutchmen just sitting at the front of the grid. Jarry, of course, yet to make a pit stop. The only one to yet to make a pit stop. And I'm kind of surprised with how early Maledictus did come into the pits.
Indeed, those medium tyres are going to be stretched, but he is going to have a work on his hands. Further down the grid, though, Slash has cruised past Dylan. Past Ryan. My mistake, I'm sorry. But he is able to get through on the racing point as we've got more trading of places further down the grid there, because that is Ben, GS, and XL Ling battling towards turn 6, but the racing point is able to get in front on relatively fresh tyres, but of course a lot of the drivers around them are. But getting points in this race is so competitive. The field is so close because it's been very clean. And who's that actually out? The Carmentalist out, and virtual safety car, not a full safety car. Of course, it's not going to change the whole complexion of the race, but Carmentalist looks like the second Haas driver to crash it, going down towards turn 8 there. And yeah, he is out of the running altogether then. And yeah, that car is going to have to get cleared soon enough. We'll get back to racing. Carmentalist out then, and he will not get points away from the race. He is going to be furious with that there. Better disappointment for Carmentalist. No points for him here today.
I'll tell you what, this could be a very good opportunity for Jarry to come into the pits right now.
Oh yeah,
if he gets it close enough, he could potentially come in the pits, chuck on a set of the mediums, and is he going to do just that? No, he actually does stay out. And MMA Slash gets a drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car, so sitting in P8. He ain't going to be happy with that one. In fact, does he just do it now? Yep, he goes straight in and gets that done right now. As look how close. Jarry's actually doing a very good job on these set of hards because he's keeping up with Yell. I know we had a VSC on the last lap and he got past him on the last lap, but despite being on 9 lap older hard tyres, I mean, Jarry is doing a very good job of keeping up. And then when he goes on a set of the mediums, or potentially even a set of the softs for the end of the race, he could be up maybe with the likes of Paco, McCrew, even Nico, so he could maybe just snag a couple of points at the end of the race.
But now Yale's beginning to establish himself, and it's hurting Dylan, and Rek is getting himself into it. Rek has actually managed to get past Skyzy as well, so the Frenchman dropping back and the Finn coming to the fore. He podiumed here last season, I believe, and he's looking good to do it again as Dylan gets a good run on GSDR Jari and is going to comfortably cruise through into second, but he has suffered a blow. Jari has really benefited Yale in this. The gap, 1.3 seconds up at the front. Dylan, he's got about 20% more on the ERS. He's going to have to use every last drop of it if he wants to stay in contention with Yale and get back in that all-important 1 second window for DRS there. Such a crucial point in the race now. Dylan and Yale battling away now on lap time. Dylan has got a 10.5 to find. Can he do it to get back in that DRS?
Yeah, he certainly has, and in fact I'm going to go on board with Rick as he's got the DRS on Jarry, and Jarry into the pits. I'm surprised he didn't actually go and take that opportunity last lap around, because I feel like he would have probably come out in quite a decent position, especially with that virtual safety car. But Nico, a little bit under pressure from Paco right now, and same with Spag. As Spag, no DRS on available to him. As Paco trying to go around the outside of him into towards turn 1. Nico does defend it very well in towards turn 1, and Nico is ever so close now to the back of Spag, but I think Nico's going to have to keep an eye on behind him rather than in front of him, as Paco now trying to maybe go around the outside in towards turn 4. He does brake a lot later than what the Spaniard does in the Red Bull, and does have to stay in that position. So it's a good battle coming on for 8th all the way down into P11 now, as Ben is starting to drop off ever so slightly from that little group just up ahead of him.
Indeed, now just beginning to struggle to stay within contact. Nico and Packer drilling away then. It might allow Spag to get out that DRS. If it does, Nico will surely be a sitting duck to the charging American there, but he gets a massive slide on out of turn 10, just able to gather it, and McCrew drawing ever closer. Those two have been inseparable throughout this race so far. Packer and McCrew absolutely going at it, going to war out there. But I'm watching as well, there's a battle up here for 5th place between M Short and Wesker. There's a few seconds adrift of the lead battle, and now actually the top 4 all within DRS of each other, it's worth noting. Dylan has done a very good job to get back with Yell. His race pace has proved to be absolutely electric, as has Rex. Those guys are charging up to the back. As now Wesker puts on the overtake, goes to the inside, and it's going to be 5th place for the Renault. The Renaults run 4th and 5th now out on track, so Wesker performing relatively well. Of course, he did get a podium after it was all said and done. Last thing out, as we're looking now for the lead, Dylan looks towards the outside. We're getting towards the closing stages of the race now, and now he is putting all sorts of pressure on. Your race leader, NSX Yell, is going to be on the back foot here. He's led pretty much the entire way in net possession, but now Iro Dillon has looked the fastest driver all the way through this race, and now he's looking to take advantage of it there. Yelt and Dillon, Rick and Skyzy hanging back in the background as well. Can Yelt hang on to it there, or is Dillon going to overhaul him there? The Mercedes will be under pressure. We've got over 10 laps between ourselves and the checkered flag there. Dillon's got plenty of time to make this work. Can he do it?
I think this is probably where Dillon can take this. He's just looking a lot quicker than what Yelt is in this race. Of course, Yelt qualifying on pole, still sitting in the lead of the race for now, but Dillon, he's done an absolutely exceptional job of catching back up to his fellow Dutchman, and well, he's only 4 tenths behind him, and he's not even using any sort of ERS or anything against him. Yeah, well, in fact, they've both got the same amount of ERS, but this is where Dillon is possibly going to chuck it into overtake. The RS is now open for the Dutchman in the Red Bull. Yelp does go very defensive on the inside, moves straight back onto the racing line. I don't think Dillon is going to be close enough to getting any sort of move done. However, Dillon, he's going to have that DRS coming up in towards turn 4, but it looks like Yelp got a much better exit than what the other Dutchman has in that Red Bull, and Dillon, again, he's going to have to just wait. He's going to have to be a bit preservative on when he gets that overtake done. Just moving slightly down on the field as well. We've still got this battle going on between Nico, Spag and Packer. As Spag, again, considering what happened at the start of the race with him, like just not being able to build up those soft tyres, he's done a very good job of keeping up, as Packer gets a much better exit than what Nico has done out of turn 4.
Indeed, he is trying to rein in that Red Bull driver, but is unable to look for a move in the turn 8. Of course, in a DRS train, overtaking so difficult to come by, and Nico hanging on in there, but he's not actually having any real go at Spag. Packer does look like the quicker driver at this stage in the race. He does have a couple of that fresher tyres. McCrew has the freshest tyres in that battle, so he's going to be one to look out for, but he is currently sitting a little bit back. I've got to keep an eye on this leading battle. Yelp has used a lot more ERS than Dillon so far on this track, on this lap, and if he keeps using that in his defence and Dillon just hangs on in there and saves it, eventually an overtaking manoeuvre could be very easy to come by. We have 10 laps to go here in Bahrain, and Dillon, with a lot of doses of DRS now, is putting ever more pressure on your race leader NSXL, but I don't think the overtake is going to be here just yet. Fence to the inside, does not fully commit to the overtake though, but look at how much he's pressuring him there. Who gets the traction off of 3? Yo gets a decent exit, but it isn't good enough there. Dillon now picks up that slipstream. He's looking for that race lead. Does he go for it? He's on the outside now in a turn 4 there. Yo trying to hold it down the inside, but he's on the curb. And Dillon, can he find traction on exit? The race leader's wheel to wheel, but Yo gets the power down towards turn 6. May just about hang on to it. NSX Yo defending his lead for all his worth. And look at Rick. He is now right with these guys as well. The top 4 are all bunching up. Dillon, that was his best attempt at trying to get past Yale. Yale fended it off well, but how many more of those attacks can he take before he finally caves in and Dillon goes through? We've got 9.5 laps between ourselves and the checkered flag, and Yale has a mammoth task on his hands to keep this lead.
Yeah, he certainly does. Dillon, again, he tried the opportunity of, well, I think that was his best opportunity of getting past Yale, doing a fine job of defending that position from him. And now, as you said, Rick and Skyzy, look how close they are now to the back of them. You can't rule these guys out for possibly getting involved in all of this, especially, as you said, if one of them does get a penalty. But Skyzy, you can see down the bottom right, he is under fueled, so he's going to have to maybe chuck it in lean around a few times in this lap. As Dillon, now we go, it's where it's going to happen. Dan, go for it.
Here we go now, Dylan to the outside of NSX. Yo, going into turn 1 there. Yo, is going to break very, very late on the inside, trying to get that one stop, but Dylan's going to have better traction around the outside. With the DRS, the exit, the traction, everything's going to be with Yo to fight this one back. Dylan uses all the overtake he can, but he's going to look to the inside. No late defensive from Dylan, but round the outside goes Yo, counteracting to the defensive moves of the Red Bull, but not quite effectively enough, or is it? He's on the outside of that turn 6. Dylan on the curve on the inside. A super move from NSX Yell into the race lead. Face the defensive moves from Dylan. Yell just been able to reclaim that. As look at this down the field then. We've got McCrew dealing with Ben GS. Yell fighting admirably for that race lead. Dylan though, reining him in. Super racing for the top spots. And now Skyzy is right there with him. The top 4, you can throw a blanket over them. Look at this. Yell, his defensive moves against Dylan are beginning to cost him, because now this top 4 are all converging there. Now you do not know who could possibly come out on top here.
I don't know where to look, Dan. I really don't know where to look. I mean, I think Dylan may have just gotten himself a warning for what he just done going up through turn 11. I mean, it looks as if he completely jumped over the covers. Dylan, no, actually, maybe trying to go for a move, as Yell has just backed off so he can get the DRS, but that's allowing Rick to now go past him.
Yeah, so Yell is going to get a better exit though on the fend. He's going to pull alongside Dylan, breaking that slipstream as much as he can, but he's got 2 cars to try and break it from. Rick and Yell, wheel to wheel down the straight, but the ERS advantage is with Rick, and he pulls ahead of the Mercedes, looks towards the Red Bull, fades to the inside, round the outside goes Yell. He's not out of this fight for second place just yet. They're wheel to wheel again, little bit of wheel rubbing on the exit there. Again, Rick has more ERS, but Yell has more momentum, and he's able to just about fended off the fend, as Skyzy as well is looking now at Rick. Super racing up at the front of this field, and it's Dylan now who has that lead. Yell's ploy to get DRS has backfired. Dylan now leads, but can he now hang on to it? He's dragging them all along, and this time it's Yell who's going to be on the offensive here. Yeah, it's definitely a much better race for Yell this time around as opposed to what happened with last week. These top 4, like you said, you could literally cover them all with a blanket, and I'm pretty sure even, well, you can see the 5th and 6th, M Short and Wesker, they were about 3.8 seconds behind about 3 or 4 laps ago, and it's now down to 2.2. These guys, if these keep on battling at the way that they are at the moment, we could potentially see it be a 6-way battle for the lead of the race. I just want to give a quick shout out as well. Ryan didn't have exactly the best of results last week. He's now sitting up in P7. Not too bad of a result for him. And then you've also got this little battle going on behind him still. Spag still holding on ahead of his fellow QBR man of Nico and Packer. Still not managing to find his way past any of these guys as well. And then obviously you've got the little train behind them as well with Panther, Ling, McCrew and Ben JS. But DRS back wide open now for Yell, and Dylan trying to break that slipstream off of his fellow Dutchman. Yell maybe trying to go down the inside of Dylan. He does actually stick it, and Dylan does maintain that position. Yell, I think, was going a little bit of an optimistic move, but he's still going to have that DRS on his fellow Dutchman. Yell now going down the inside into turn 4. It breaks a lot later than what Dylan does. Dylan maybe trying to go for a bit of a switchback. He gets much better traction out of it compared to what Yell has done. And Yell, well, he's actually managed to get the move done. Yeah, Yell, super in his wheel-to-wheel battles so far. Further down the grid though, they're going side by side. This is McCrew and Ben GS. McCrew on the outside is under pressure. Ben GS on the offensive now in the turn 6. There, there's contact, and round goes the Racing Point there, spearing off at turn 6. Yellow's in sector 2, of course, and Ben GS takes a major blow in this race. Now, Yells was able to claim that race lead. Look at him short though, last week's race winner, and he's not like this one slip away. Almost back in that DRS range, but he's used so much ERS to get there. Now though, Dylan yet again on the offensive. Yeah, now the Hunter, as opposed to the Hunter, I think McCrew is letting Ben through. Or maybe he's made a mistake himself, I'm not too sure. But now, Iro Dylan, NSXL, Rick, Skyzy, and now M Short in a DRS train for the race lead. D2 never disappoints, doesn't it? And now we're going to see yet again, Yell is using all of the ERS on the overtake that he possibly has at his disposal to try and keep himself afloat. But how long is that going to work? That very aggressive strategy could come back to bite in those last few laps. Stellan, I still think, is in a very good position. Rick, we know, can make on the offensive, and Skyzy is going to have to be a bit more reserved, because as you mentioned, he is down on fuel as JSD on those mediums, glides past Tiger, but I cannot look away from this leading battle there. Gil, Dylan, Rick, Skyzy, short. What a conclusion to this race we have in store. Who's going to come out on top?
I I can't call it. I genuinely can't call it. There's another one you cannot rule out as well within that. Is also going to be Wesker. Yes, he is 2 seconds behind this little group, but if they're battling the way that they are at the moment, Wesker is going to be in them. Well, be right up behind them within a click of, well, just a click of your fingers. So Dylan, DRS is now wide open for him. He's not obviously going to try and go for a move in towards turn 11. However, he is going to bring himself ever so closer to the back of Yelp. We have only got just about 5.5 laps left to go of the race, and to all the 27 people that are tuning in at the moment, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. This usually happens every week on D2. It is very good watch, so it's good that you are all tuning in as McCrew is gone round at turn 7.
Yeah, he must. In the Williams, having a really tough time in these last few laps, but we've got to cut back to this lead battle. I can tell you, out of the 6 drivers in contention for this race win, none of them have any penalties, so it's all fair. And again, the ERS deployment from Yelt as he goes over the marbles to try and break the slip through mid, closing him down to the outside, going down into turn 1. Yelt defends that nicely, parks the Mercedes on the exit, and looks for traction off turn 2 and 3, which he gets, and gets to very good effect. But the overtake now from Dylan. He's going to try and close him down. Yelt defends into the middle of the track. Round the outside looks Dylan again. Yelp holds that lane on the inside though, and he will maintain that race lead, but just for the time being. Rick, Skyzy, they're all right there. Can Rick pull a move on Dylan? I don't think he's quite going to be there for the taking, but Yelp, I have to say, he's done a sterling job of maintaining this race lead, but with 4.5 laps to go, it can all change so quickly. M Short is now searching for any sort of overtakes there. The top 5, near enough nose to tail. Again, you cannot rate some of these races in D2, and now they're just going to have to try and hang on to it there. Yelp trying to stay with it as McCrew seems to be going off pretty much everywhere at the moment. Nightmare race for the Williams, and yeah, I don't have much more to say there. We're just poised, waiting for a conclusion in these final 2 laps. Can Yelp hang on to it? Can Dylan get through?
And also, just a little bit further up behind as well, I was saying about Ryan's keeping P7 for now. He's now actually got pressure from Spag, Nico and Packer, and Spag, like I said, he stayed up ahead of those two, even without having any DRS. So with Spag now having DRS to Ryan could be in for a little bit of trouble with his fellow Brit, as Dylan, now, this is where he possibly can go for a move. You can see on the back his lights are flashing as he is running out of ERS. Dylan, I thought he was going to try and go around the outside of turn 1, but does stay behind him, and it looks as if Yelp have got a much better exit, although I say that, Dylan, DRS, no overtake, however, he's just going to have to stay behind him.
I think Dylan is sparing himself for an attack in the last 2 laps of the race or so, because he's not going all out with the overtake, and I think when he does, Yell is going to have a much tougher time on his hands. But they're just going to have to try on. I saw a mistake from Skyzy, and M Shaw's going to try and take advantage. He's down the inside. Skyzy pinches him right to the curb there, and they almost, though they do come together. Skyzy, very aggressive defence of that 4th place, and M Short had to yield to the end. He's not going to be a happy man in that Mercedes, I'm sure, and that's just isolated the top 3 just for a little moment. So now they can afford to maybe be a bit more aggressive for a little stretch of time. Yelp leads, Dylan 2nd, Rick 3rd, and wow, you do not know what order they're going to finish in as we get towards the conclusion. The final 3 laps of this Bahrain Grand Prix there. So much on the line, so little between all these drivers. It's Yelp who still leads then, but under such relentless pressure from Iro Dylan. We'll see how it goes. There are 3 laps to go. Can Yelp hang on?
Well, we'll wait and see. We're going to DRS straight. However, because of McCrew retiring in the pits, there are going to be the yellow flags, so no one can actually overtake anybody going down this DRS straight. And Dylan, well, again, he's not close enough to do so anyway. I don't think any of those guys in that little 5 DRS train is able to do that no matter what. However, down the field, Packer and Nico, look at them both side by side. Packer trying to go around the outside of the Spaniard in towards turn 1 now, in towards turn 2. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, and Nico does manage to maintain this position. However, Packer got a bit of a better run considering that he touched the back of Nico, takes off overtake, goes down the inside. However, he did stick with it, and well, Nico, great defensive maneuver, keeping that P9. And also just want to say, Spag is now starting to break away from these guys as well, as Ryan is doing. Well, he's doing a good job of actually keeping up ahead of Spag as well.
Yes, indeed, we now have a 5-way, actually 6-way fight over P7 as Ling just hopped onto the back of it as well. So really, there's battles everywhere. Wesker is trying to get with those top 5, but I think it might just be too little too late to be troubling for the win at least, but of course it can all kick off in those last 2 laps. We're just going to have to wait and see. Both Yell and Dylan have saved up a fair amount of BRS, which is going to be absolutely essential to their performance in these last 2 laps now. Yell punches out of the last corner for the third to last time. We'll see if he can hold on to it this time now. But Dylan is on that overtake a little bit more aggressively, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. He wasn't quite on the back of the Mercedes. Watch out for M Short again. He's going to go to the outside of Skyzy, and in turn 1 there gets squeezed onto the curb. Skyzy again, so aggressive, but just about fair, and he cuts his way in front. Going round into turn 2. Further back there, it's Ryan. He's going to be on the defensive because around the outside goes Spag, and he's just about trying to get through. They're rubbing wheels, rubbing side pods, but now Spag has the overtake to pull himself just slightly in front, and Ryan down the inside. Can he pull that one off? I think Skyzy is through. Oh, sorry, Spag is through. My apologies. Spag into 7th place. Wow, what a race we're being treated to. Spag eventually getting through a good recovery drive from the Ferrari man. It looks like 7th place may well be his if he can hang on to it with just a lap and a half more. But now, the pressure on this man's shoulders now. Dylan has been so relentless. He's got a little bit, about 15% more in terms of that ERS deployment. That could play such a key role in the last lap of this race, which is just coming up. It's been such a sensational fight up at the front. Can Yell hang on to it? Dylan cannot afford to make any mistakes now. He's got to try and get through Yell. Under pressure there, 1 lap to go here in Bahrain. Who is going to come out on top here? I cannot call this.
I think Dylan may end up getting him, because look at the run that he's just gotten on that final corner. Yell, how much ERS has he's got? He's got 19%. He's 17 now, and he's in overtake, and you can see that light flashing on the back of his car. Dylan now in overtake. DRS open. Yell trying to go defensive on the inside. Dylan now trying to maybe go around the outside. No possible move done. And M Short and Sky are both now trying to trade positions. But M Short keeping that outside line into turn 2. Got that move done. And now Dylan, this is for the lead race. He's trying to go down the inside.
Contact! And they're both going to run away. Watch Rek. Rek's down the inside of Dylan. He may even have a run at Yell as well. Rek is in the second. He's got almost no ERS. Neither does Yell. They're absolutely running on fumes, these guys. Rek is taking advantage of that. Dylan went for the dummy. Ran into the back of Yell. And both of them came off worse. But Dylan more so there. His one chance of getting them in and winning it might have well have just slipped through his fingers. So now it's Yell. It's Rek. That's your fight for the win now. Yell is so slow coming up turn 10. Rek has the overtake. Here we go now. He's going to get a run, going to go to the outside, going into turn 11 there. Yelp may not have much more to fight with, but he's back down the inside. Can he get that one stuck there? Rek forced onto the outside curb, but they are still wheel to wheel. Here we go, my voice is absolutely gone at this point. But now Rek on the inside of turn 13. I can barely speak at this point, but Rek is in front. Can he hold on to it? We're heading down to the last corner now, and the race is not decided. To the outside goes Yell. Can he get that one done? Rek parks it on the apex. The driver of the corner makes speed with Rek. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to come out on top here? Rek, Yell, it's Rek by 1/10 of a second. My voice is completely crumbled at the end of this race, but Rek comes out on top 1/10 of a second. Wow, that is one of the closest finishes, not in D2 history, not in LOE history, but league racing history. Wow, what a race.
That was... that was insane. That's absolutely insane. Rick, well, Dylan and Yelt to start off with. Dylan just trying to go for a bit of a dummy. Yelt wasn't expecting that dummy, so moved back onto the racing line. And Dylan just hitting the back of him. Both on that final lap, Rick, he just kept calm and composed through that, and just he got the move done, and that was it done. Rick, I just, wow, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But the Finnish man in the Williams, he's done an absolute exceptional job and has taken the win. We didn't even think that Rick could possibly have gotten it. But I mean, yeah, that's. I'll let you cool down your voice a little bit, because that was just, that was nuts. That was absolutely nuts, that final lap. But you can see, as I said, Rick taking that win. Yelp, Dylan, M-Shorts, guys, you give yourselves a pat on the back because that was an absolutely insane battle for the final lap of the race. That's all
Well,
I can say.
I'll offer you guys some congratulations because that's the first league race in history that has broke me. So thank you. I'm sorry about that last lap, guys. That was a disaster on my end. But anyway, it is Rick, of course, who takes the race win ahead of NSXL. Dylan comes through P3, maybe just throwing away his chances on that last lap. M-Short a solid drive to 4th, and he will keep in that championship fight. Skyzy does well to get pit in the end after a super race. Wesker 6th. Spag manages to win out in that fight. He gets 7th in the end. Ryan, Nico, and Packer out at the top 10. Like Panther and XL Ling round out the points finishers. Outside the points, unfortunately, is GST, Maledictus, Chill, Tiger, Ben Slash, and McCrew. And of course, Carmentalist unable to finish the race on his end. So not a good race for those guys that didn't finish. But yeah, wow, that was just simply remarkable. And yeah, I'm just a bit lost for words at this point. Rick somehow managed to grab that win by 0.5 of a second over an NSXL. Just wow.
Yeah, that whole race, it was just absolutely insane. And I just want to say Slash taking the fastest lap in the end, but that, yeah, I've got no other words for that. I really don't. That was absolutely insane. Now I see why you and Verstappen are always like always having their voices dying at the end of a race. That was nuts. But Rick, the Finn, taking a win once again. I mean, all we can do is really congratulations to that top 5. Absolutely insane race between those guys. Obviously, not taking anything away from all the other guys that were battling down the field. Of course, there was some brilliant moves that was going on between everybody down there as well. And I mean, yeah, that was absolutely insane. But Dan, with your croaky voice, you got anything else left to say?
I think for my health, it's probably not best to say too much. Just yeah, that was just insane. Wow, I cannot believe what happened in that last lap. Rick, I think is his first win in all of. It may be is it his first win in all of the F1 leagues?
It's his
such
first
a veteran.
Win.
That
it's
is
his
crazy.
first win in League of Europe.
Wow,
that's insane. That is insane. Yeah, I've got no words for that. Other than to everyone that watched, thank you very much for watching. Absolutely insane race as always in Division 2. Yeah, thank you for Dan for getting me in to sort of fill in for you guys as well. I'm hoping I can in the future because that was just insane. But yeah, to everyone watching, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week for another round of Division 2.